Today I'm so excited because I'm actually kicking off a new series. So this is the intro to it because I have had something on my heart. And if you have been following along at all on social media, I just actually got back when I'm recording this series from an incredible trip to go see my sister over in Europe. And it is a story to be told on how that ended up happening. I am just so grateful for the opportunity that I had to be able to go visit her, to be honest, because we were supposed to go back in December. That did not happen financially. We are not been in a place that made sense. Even this one was really hard because my mind wanted to take over and be like, nope, you can't go right now. Nope, you can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I had made the decision at the end of February when I started working with my first fractional client that if I got 3 new clients, specifically around my fractional work, then I would go see my sister in June or July. And my hope was, and in my heart was that would happen by the end of March. That way I got really good deal on my flights and all the things. It's summer. Europe is insane in the summer if you know anything about it. And the cost of flights just is higher typically that time of year. And in general, just traveling over there is. So I put it out into the universe, and I actually wrote a sticky note, funny enough, on my computer screen and told myself, I release control, I release this. Even though I wanted to be in March, didn't happen. And I was like, I'm just going to put it out there still, and it is what it is. And by the end of May, I had signed on my 3rd client, and the contract was signed at the beginning of June, and I booked my flight to go see my sister. So that is where I had been the last almost 2 weeks, because I also knew that I wanted to make it worth my while. I ended up taking off I took off like 6 days actually while I was there. And then I did work a couple of days at the very beginning and at the very end. And then obviously on my flight back, it was daytime. So I had the opportunity to get some work done. And flying with Delta, just FYI, shout out to Delta. 1, free Wi-Fi as long as you're a Sky Miles member, which I'm obsessed with. And 2, just had such a great experience getting there and getting back. I'm a little hooked maybe now on Delta, even though I live closer to Charlotte, which is an American Airlines hub. So just putting that out there. If you're flying to Europe, Delta all the way, KLM, Air France, that's their partners. I highly recommend. Anyways, I digress. I have never really been someone to promote or talk about manifesting, but that is what I did. I said it and spoke it out to the world. I acted on it. I put in the time and I put in the energy. I put in the effort to make it happen. And because I put it out there and I spoke it to other people and I really released the control and the forcing to the universe, it happened and I got to go. And let me just tell you, I have talked about the power that comes from giving yourself space, the power that when you really can allow time for your body to rest and for you to relax and you to not be in it every day in your work, that it really can be life-changing. It can give you so much clarity and information that you didn't even know you needed for your business, for your life. And I got so much from this trip because I forced myself really, really hard, had to work on not working while I was over there. But I took the space, and that is actually where, while I was in that space, this series came from. Because I realized that every time I have done something where I burned myself out, where I made a completely different change, where I said yes, where I said no, all of it came back to choice. I could have chosen a different path. It might have been yes or no, so this path or that path, but it also might have been multiple different paths that could have happened and I could have chosen. But I chose the path I did, and that ripples into other choices that you have to make, the choices that you do make. It ripples into just your life and your business or your career, whatever it is that you are in. And that was the moment I went, I need to talk about this more. And I don't have the scientific background or psychology or any of those things, but the power in choosing, your choice has so much power behind it because it's tied so much to your beliefs, your thoughts, your attunement to yourself. And I'll actually dive into a lot more of some of these things in the upcoming episodes because I have learned so much the last 2 years. And the one thing I look back at is every single day, every single moment, I was making choices that were aligned with myself, that were good for me, but then I also was making choices that weren't maybe as good for me. And it was big choices, it was small choices, and that's what this series kind of, I'm not going to say kind of, why am I saying kind of? That's what this series is about actually me getting to share with you my story from the last 20 plus years of being on this earth, and me getting to go back and reflect on some of the things in the last few months that I've realized really impacted me. The choices I made at 6 years old and 8 years old and 16 and 18 and then 21 and then 23. So many different places in my life, there were choices that impacted me on a bigger scale. But then also choices that were so small and so minor that also impacted me on a big scale. But it was such a simple choice I had to make. And that is what I'm going to share with you, because one, I want to share my story with you more. And I've shared a lot of the now and in the moment, and we're going to get to that. So at the end of the series, I will get around to like the now and how choices more recently have been impacting me and how they're affecting me and how I'm showing up and now making choices even. And my hope is that in the series, you'll get to hear my story and take little bits and pieces away that can impact you, that get to make a difference on you and how you're showing up and making your own choices. And there'll be little takeaways that I put in there. But I'm going to start with actually in the next episode talking about my health and wellness journey, because something more recently, and if you're in the video, you'll see my hat, Live Well. I went to an event I shared briefly about in Chicago and really made me start thinking about my health and wellness journey more. And the fact that I've shared bits and pieces, but my story is an interesting one. And I want to share it with you because there were so many different choices over the last really 20 years especially that constantly impacted me and my body and my mind, my mental capacity, my emotional capacity. And then we're going to move into the time frame of when I made the choice to leave corporate. We're going to go into the time frame, actually just even more recently, my spiritual journey, but overall, again, over the last 20 plus years, almost my entire life, I'm going to share about my spiritual journey, the choices I've been making and have made in the past. I'm going to then go into the more recent pivot that I made and how that was such another difficult choice I had to make and how to show up. And then I'm going to end, like I mentioned, with the now, the present, how all those choices accumulated to now. What are the choices I'm currently making in my life and my business? And boy, oh boy, again, guys, it's crazy. Give yourself space, give yourself time. And it is so hard, and your mind wants to take over. My mind wanted to take over so often, saying you're not doing enough. You should be working. You should be doing X, Y, and Z. You could be doing this. You don't need to be sitting on your butt and just reading or just walking the streets of France. But it's what I needed. I needed that space. And I chose to hear the thought and let it pass and be as present as I could in that moment. But it was in those moments I really got to look back at the last 28 years of my life and realize all that's culminated to now, and how can I bring it all together to support myself, to set boundaries for myself, to set boundaries with my clients, and really get to start putting together what does it look like now for me to start making a bigger impact with what I'm doing. So this is the start of it. And I don't have answers for you. I cannot make the choices for you. But the one thing I can say is I have chosen to do this series for a reason, and I hope you will stick around with me and join me along this series of the choices I've made in my life, the impact they had on me, the impact that they could have on you by hearing my stories, and then getting to really reflect on your own as well. And that is my challenge. That is my offer and invitation to you, is that as you listen to this series, start reflecting on your own life and the choices that you've made. And whether they were right or wrong, good or bad, you agree with it, you don't agree with it now, don't let that come into play. Just reflect on it and know, how is that impacting you now moving forwards? And what choices can you make now that are different and better for you and more aligned for you moving forwards? So I will be back next week. We're going to jump right into my health and wellness journey. And I can't wait to kind of share that with you. It's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest. But between now and then, if you can share this episode with somebody, hit subscribe so that you get notified as I release the episodes for this series. These episodes will probably drop twice a week, just so I can have the series out throughout the month of July and be able to pour into you and share more of who I am with you to, share with you more of me. And I'd love to hear more of you. So if something resonates, please share it on your story. Please shoot me a DM with what resonates with you. Maybe something, a choice that you made in your life that impacted you in a similar way. I would just love, love, love to hear from you. So in the meantime, enjoy, and I will see you next time on the podcast.